most people coming in right now fall into two categories. Store value, I want to make some money, Bitcoin, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're investor first, Bitcoin. But everybody else, collectors, why would they buy Bitcoin?
Okay, and that leads me to my question about Ethereum and Ether. So earlier in the conversation, you said that seeing DeFi grow and all these different protocols also helped you kind of change your perception about crypto. So can you tell me more about that? Like, do you think Ether can become as a suitable store of value as Bitcoin is? And what in DeFi made you become kind of more bullish on crypto in general?
So the biggest limitation right now are transaction costs, right? They're ridiculous, right? To do anything. And because of that, it actually it puts a lid on the number of actual transactions. And you see people being pushed towards private blockchains like Top Shots and different NFTs, right? And different tokens and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think if ETH, and I don't remember all the new things that are the 1559 where they're going to burn, Ethereum, and 2.0, where hopefully the transactions will be faster and cheaper. But like some people say, 2.0 is right around the corner and always will be. So, I don't know what's going to happen there. But smart contracts are real. And smart contracts on blockchain remind me of the early days of the internet, when people realized that there is a network effect, and that with just HTML and then some basic JavaScript, you could do a whole lot of business and create a whole lot of new businesses. So there were companies that only sold books in bookstores, and then Amazon came around. There were only radio and television, and then AudioNet, putting audio and video as broadcast.com came along, and now streaming's ubiquitous. And so, but it took 25 years to get from there to here. And so we're right at that point right now where smart contracts in particular on top of blockchain allow people to digitize, to take anything that's digital and turn it into a product and sell it. But what's really changed everything, I think, in terms of the smart contracts is the fact that it's becoming friction-free banking. Where it's easier, even though you have to over-collateralize, it's easier to borrow in seconds. Yeah. Even again, still, I guess it depends on where else you'd be borrowing, but still relatively high transaction costs. But still, if you've got $200 in Ether or Bitcoin and you want to wrap it, and then you want to borrow $100 at 2.3%, it takes you 15 seconds, right? And that's incredible. And that now starts to really begin to disrupt the banking industry. That's not to say they're going away tomorrow, but as more applications come along, and more importantly, more trust comes along, and the friction of opening up a wallet and understanding it is reduced. And again, I'll give you an example that goes back to the early days of the internet. When I started streaming with our company in late 94, early 95, right? In order to stream, and now everybody just, you cut the cord, you stream, it's no big deal. Back then, you had to have a powerful PC, you had to have a modem, right? Maybe you're corporate, but most people are looking to have a 56K modem, which don't even exist anymore, I don't think. Then you had to download TCP/IP software, which is what allows you to connect from your PC to the internet. Then you had to download an application that allows you to receive the audio or video packets and play that on your PC. That was a lot of work, and that was a lot of hassle. But people wanted it so badly that, by the end of 1995, we had a million plus people downloading all this junk in order just to be able to listen to their favorite radio station or sports team. We would have 50,000 people listening to Chicago Cubs baseball games in the office at one time in 1995. So there were people willing to do that. You're seeing the same thing now. People are so upset and so left out of the banking system in a lot of respects that, if a regular person, before anybody knew who I was, before when I was broke, like living 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment and getting turned down for my credit cards. Once I got those first credit cards ripped up and my lights turned off a couple of times,
oh, wow.
There was nobody going to lend me anything, right? Even if I had $25,000 in the bank and I wanted to keep it there and I needed $5,000, it wasn't going to happen. Now all those people, regardless of how they got their money, maybe it's just a stimulus check, right? And they need, and with their $600, they just bought $600 worth of Ether, and so now they want to borrow 100 just to pay a bill.
And they can do that.
You can do it for a lot less than borrowing off your credit card or elsewhere, right? That really changes the game. And then you start, simplifying it, reducing friction versus traditional banking. And I can see, just like I saw in the early days of the internet, how all this is going to just go nuts. And it's going to have a significant impact, and it's going to change the game. No doubt about it. And then on top of that, you've got the same opportunities with digital goods and NFT, right? And the variety of tokens involved there. I mean, for Gen Z and younger millennials, everything, you value digital more than you value physical stuff, right? Other than a house and maybe a car, a house appreciates hopefully, but that's the only thing that's more valuable than the digital assets that you own. Now you can start to sell those things. And just like, again, the early days of the internet, when you had Napster and you had the old school music companies trying to, stop everybody and sue everybody, this changes that game completely now with digital goods.
Yeah.
When I started playing with it and realized that there was a little thing that said, resale percentage, so that when I put up something for sale and it got resold, I got a percentage, and it could track it every time it's sold forevermore, and I would continue to get paid for a zillion years. That was a game changer.
Yeah.
That changes how music, how video, how the internet is going to work forever. If you're a professional photographer, you should be putting your stuff, I like Mintable, I like Rarible, there's OpenSea, but OpenSea doesn't do series yet, and so I use Mintable and Rarible. But yeah, like on Mintable, just putting it in their store and it's no cost until you sell. If I'm a professional photographer and, I put all my pictures up there first, not on Twitter, and let people buy them there or send them from Twitter there. And that way you can, offer commercial license, and anytime it's sold again, you keep on getting paid. And same with music or a music video, instead of it being on YouTube, put it where you can, tokenize it and keep on getting paid. That's enormous. That is such a game changer that traditional industries that sell digital goods haven't even recognized that.
Wow. Okay. So you think Ether has an advantage over Bitcoin as a store of value?
Right now, for new people coming in, yes.
Wow.
Because, Jen, here's my logic, and I know everybody's going to bitch at me, right? So if I decide I like digital art, how do I buy digital art?
With Ether.
Yeah. And if there's thousands of people a day, 2,000 people a day coming in, relative to the size of the number of people doing this, right? That's impactful, because every now and then one of them is going to be a whale and they're going to buy 1,000 Ether, right? And because they want to go out there and be able to buy that big artwork. And then on top of that, you're going to start to see music and entertainment videos and movies, for that matter, posted on OpenSea or Rarible or wherever, right? Because that's a better way to sell it. And what are they going to see? And what are they going to have to do if they want to do their own store? They're going to have to spend their $500 or $600 in Ethereum, right? Half an ETH just to be able to play the game. There's nothing in this ecosystem that says you have to buy Bitcoin first in order to transact or do something within DeFi or within any of the digital goods marketplace, right?
True. Yep. Yeah. So you think that means you think that NFTs and digital collectibles, digital goods will be the way to bring in like more people into crypto.
Yeah. Now, what Dapper and Grow are doing with NBA Top Shots, That's, kind of a unique environment, and that's bringing people in, but that's getting them excited about digital goods. There are moments there, right? And so, I buy all the moments for Dallas Mavericks. At least so I have one for every player on the Dallas Mavericks that's available, right? Just so I can learn it. And, so you go to Crypto Slam and you get to see the number of customers and you get to see the number of users, and you see that number creeping up. And those people are becoming more and more comfortable with buying and selling digital goods. And look, NBA Top Shot's going through a whole lot of grief right now, just in terms of being able to keep up with the volume. And a lot of them are, right? Because blockchain doesn't scale great for some of these applications in terms of the user interface and the UX. But most people coming in right now fall into two categories: store value, I want to make some money, Bitcoin, right? So if you're investor first, Bitcoin. But everybody else, collectors, why would they buy Bitcoin?
Right. And about collectibles.
Look, I'm still learning this, right? You got to tell me if I'm right, or if you think I'm right or wrong.
Oh, okay. No, I think you're right. I mean, just to be able to be involved in DeFi, NFTs, digital art, digital collectibles of any kind, I'd say, 99% or a large majority of all that activity is happening on Ethereum. I know that there are other blockchains trying to capture some of that market share with NFTs, like Flow, I think, is doing a lot on NFTs. But I mean,
Flow, yeah, I call it Grow. But yeah. Sorry.
So no, that's absolutely the case, and I think there's kind of a solid narrative. You talk about narrative around kind of Bitcoin as a store of value and digital gold, and I think that's not going anywhere. But because it has that kind of one simple as it by design architecture, that it just can't be that layer for decentralized finance.
No, I get that, right? I mean, when you take the block size of 1 megabit or whatever it was, and there's, and now, that's the whole reason behind, what is it, Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV, whatever it is, right? That's designed to do transactions. It made its bed to be a store of value, and, the algorithmic scarcity is a great selling tool. It's a great narrative, and that's not going away. And, I can see the argument being made for people to put it in their treasury and to use it as an alternative. And that's good. But, for those, part of the problem is for those people who want to yield farm, trying to go through the process of going into wrapped Bitcoin, right, and making that swap. Yeah. You got to hope that that the people behind wrapped Bitcoin are doing their job to make sure that it tracks exactly right. And there's some risk associated with that. Yeah. And it's just complex and hard to do. I mean, not hard to do.
There's no reason to go and wrap your Bitcoin if you can just directly do it with ETH.
Yes.
Yeah.
Period, end of story.
Yeah.
Period, end of story.
Yeah.